Sounds exciting. What's that then?
I'm dead excited. Next year's retreat has just been partly revealed. We will
Ooh.
reveal shortly how you achieve it, where it is, all the details, when it is, and stuff like that. We've just put a little sneaky image. We're doing something different this time. We're in a hotel rather than a house, but it's really fancy and it's all one giant room for everyone to
Oh,
have fun.
sounds good. Amazing. Thank
Yeah.
you. It sounds good.
Lots of fun things going to be happening. So it is going to be based on everyone growing their business. So this is what we need to do, guys. We want you to be growing your business. I just want to get some feedback, first of all, as to see where you are all at with your business. How many of you are currently actively recruiting or trying to recruit already? How many of you are doing that? And how many of you have not yet tried recruiting? Where are we at?
I've tried, not successfully.
Okay.
I haven't tried.
Okay.
Alex has only been here, what, a couple of weeks, so a few weeks, still finding your feet. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying and got a couple of partners so at the moment, but not working the business.
Yeah. Okay.
So they've told me it straight up.
I've got 2 active, one not overly active and one not active at all.
Okay. So this is, I think, where we need to, first of all, I need to just check, do you want to grow a team? Is this something that everybody's wanting to do? Does everyone want to grow a business as such with the business? Yeah. So I'm speaking to the right people then on that, because when you retailing is crucial, and retailing is the heart and soul of our business. And if we know how to retail, we know how to teach it on. So I'm not saying that retail is not an important factor, but retailing is a job. Okay, I just want to put that out there. You could be going working in a Sainsbury's, you could be working, and you are exchanging your time for money constantly when you are just retailing. And don't get me wrong, that's why I wanted to check who was speaking to, because for some people, that's what they're looking for anyway. They just want some reliable money that they can take control of. They can be flexible around the family, around the children, all of that. So we do have a great retail opportunity, and there's some people that make some fantastic income from that. But when you build a team, you start to go into the residual income. This is where you're earning when you're sleeping. This is when you take the time off and you still earn. You go on holiday with the kids and you're still earning, all of this. And this only happens when you've got a lot of people working within your business. Now, one thing I will say is that this takes time. Okay, I am not here to tell you that this is a get rich quick scheme, that you're suddenly going to recruit a superstar and your business is just going to grow and all of that. It doesn't look like that. Oh, we've got somebody else joining us. Hello, Charlotte. So there's it's something that we want to be able to go on and build our future. For me, when I first got into network marketing, that's exactly what I was looking for. I wasn't looking for an extra income as such. I wanted to change my whole career path. I wanted to change my life. I seen the bigger picture very quickly and knew I wanted to do that. But that didn't mean I got off to a fast start. I was a slow starter. And I say why I was a slow starter was because I'd recruit someone. I can still remember to the day me recruiting my first team member. I remember being on my phone, on my stairs, on my old house, so excited talking to a girl that I've met on Facebook, picking her up and taking her to a meeting. She lived in the next town, all of this. I was so excited for her. She lasted about 2 months and she left. She didn't stay around. But I remember when she first joined, she placed quite a bit of orders and I earned 60 quid. And I can remember that £60 was such a change to me, because it was like, I've just earned £60 off what somebody else has done. Like, she's done them sales, I've not done them sales. And yet I imagine how many more 60 quids I could get to collectively make a bigger income. Now we know that recruiting is not where the money is. Coaching and supporting your people is where the money is, because it's okay bringing them in, but if we don't bring them on, then they're not going to do anything. So it's not that you're getting it for nothing. Of course we are working for it. Like I said, we're not get rich quick, but it really like sparked something in my head. And I think when you start to see that and you start to get that realization, it makes you more hungry. And when you're hungry for it and when you're unstoppable and you're excited, then you will succeed. I can tell you, people will just come flooding your way. But it's also, it's very much like a deck of cards recruiting, okay? So if you imagine a deck of cards, you've got jokers in there, you've got kings, queens, aces, ones, twos, threes, fours. You've got all of these in that deck of cards. Yet we've got those aces, we've got those people in there that we want, but we've got to keep turning the cards. And sometimes we can turn the cards and it can be all the ones and all the twos, and they might not stay around. You might get the jokers all at once. But eventually, if you continue to flip them, you'll find what you're looking for. And it's the same in this business. It's about continuing to go through. So I know when you said, for example, Jane, that you've tried and you've not been successful. Well, you fail your way to success in this business. You go through so many numbers, you go through so many people. I believe I can remember, like I was about 2 years of slow growing, like really slow growing, for about 2 years. And then I skyrocketed, like it just went through the roof, my business. But for those 2 years, I was like plodding along. And I really believe that I was practicing. I was cutting my teeth on the wrong people to join me as such. And when the right people came into my life, I was ready for them. And I think that's the key. Don't ever feel that you're wasting your time when you're working with people that do nothing or that quit on you, because it's all practice. It's all worth it. It's all so that, like I said, you learn more when you're going down than you do when you're on a high. So keep doing that. Keep judging that. Now, what I would like to say to you is everybody that you know or whatever could potentially join your business, but we want to find people we want to work with. We want to put it out there, the type of people that we want to work with. You know, we hear people all the time talk about finding your avatar, and your avatar is just a carbon copy of you, and they're the type of people that we want in our business. We all want, someone like ourselves in the business. So by putting things out like on social media, talking to people, all the different things that that they would relate to, because that's the type of person you're looking for, and you'll start to create conversations that way. I would say that there's 2 ways when it comes to recruiting, and you've got what we call attraction marketing, and then we've got what we call action marketing, and they have to go hand in hand. So attraction marketing it's the dream, it's the big goal, it's what we all want. Who wants to just post something on social media tomorrow and everyone go, I want to join you? That's like, that's what we want, isn't it? That's the goal. That is the goal. But I can tell you, that's quite rare. Okay, so it's something that we've got to build up to. But what we do need to do on the side of it is the action marketing, where we strike up the conversations ourselves. There's so many ways that you can have these conversations with people. But there's a couple of tips that I'll give. There's one tip that I'll give you. I'm just looking if I've got a bobble so I can show you this example. So there's something called the elastic band theory. Has anyone heard of the elastic band theory?
I think so.
No.
I need a bobble. 1 second. I've got to show you. I will have one here somewhere.
This isn't good. It's a hairdresser that hasn't got a hair bubble to hand.
I know. That's what I mean. I should have one here somewhere. In fact, 1 second. I know I've got one here because I've just had it in. Won't be a minute. Right, I've got one. I'm back. Right, so the elastic band theory. When you're new, or at any stage, because this is something that sticks in my mind all the time, it's a very practical training that stays with me when I'm recruiting always. And what you're going to do is you imagine this elastic band is your conversation, right? And whenever you're talking about the business to a prospect, you stretch the elastic band, okay? Now, if you stretch and stretch and stretch and stretch and stretch, it's gonna break. It's just gonna pop, and it's the same with your conversation. So this is where, when we're having conversations with people, we need to stretch it, but we need to be able to come back. And when we come back, it's when we're talking about them. So this is the important bit. So if you're having a conversation with somebody, and let's just say you've got onto the subject of holidays, for example. You could say something along the lines of, are you going on holiday anywhere this year? It's still about them. Are you going anywhere fun? Have you been there before? All these kind of things that you could ask. But then you could turn around and say, My company offer free holidays. Now you're stretching your elastic band by saying this. My company offers free holidays. Now if you stretch it even more, you're going to break it. So you bring it back and you go, have you ever had a free holiday before? And you're talking about them. Again, you're changing the subject. You're not talking all about your business again. Then you're going to bring it back and say, oh gosh, we have such really good incentive trips that are so achievable. Have you ever thought about looking at them? So again, you're stretching it a bit. But then if they're unsure, you go straight back to them and it's like, okay, that's fine, no problem. Have you got anything planned for next time, next year? So you, even if they say no to you, you're always bringing it back to them. Does that make sense? And if you have this elastic band in your head, if you think about every time you're talking business, 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 think that it's just going to stretch, it's just going to pop, they're going to switch off. Like I always say this, I'm someone that likes to buy, but I hate to be sold to. And it's the same with the opportunity. Even if people are really interested in your business, they don't like to be sold to. So when you're having your conversations, it's super important that we get it in there, super important that we talk about the business. But then if you keep bringing it back to them, because that's the most important thing in the conversation is them. And that's what they'll come off that conversation really loving you if you've made them the most important thing in the conversation as well. And that it's all about them and it's all about what they're looking for. And it's not about business. And if they say they're not interested, don't just end the conversation, carry it on. And then eventually they might change their mind. But if you end the conversation with them, then it looks like you were only ever looking for them to join their business. Does that make sense? So
I've got Claire, so I don't mean to interrupt there, but I've got quite a good example of this as well, like a proper real life example of a girl that was following my stories for a while and I was following her. She was asking a question about whether she should get a Fitbit or an Apple Watch. And I've had both. So I was really able to relate to this. And I told her to go with the Fitbit, not the Apple Watch. You have to charge it every night. It's a right ball ache, you know. So kind of got that conversation going with her. I put a recruitment post on for our opportunity call on the Monday or something, and she'd seen that. And I thought, well, she's the type of person that obviously looks after herself. She's into wellness. She's obviously, you know, moving her body and stuff. Similar type of person to me, always looking good with her makeup and stuff. So I dropped her an invite to the opportunity call. But in that invite, I related it back to her. And I basically said, just reaching out to a few ladies who I feel might be interested in learning more. Your makeup and hair always looks fab in your pictures. So I thought of you. Now, she came back to me and she said, that's so kind of you. Not something for me right now, but definitely in the future. Thanks for thinking of me. I appreciate it. And I just pivoted it, like you were saying about stretching that band. I pivoted the conversation back and just basically said, no trouble at all. I really enjoy following along with your page. I might just drop you the odd invite now and then. Did you manage to sort a Fitbit or something, by the way? And then we've just had more conversations about her and her dog and stuff like that. So and you were just saying, like, it's really easy when someone says no to the business, you can kind of like just cast them aside and like never speak to them again. But it's good to keep those relationships going. And that's the bit that really takes the time. And I think that's the bit that can be so frustrating with the business.
Yeah, definitely. And I get that because it's you've got that's the long game. And I think this is where we've got to be able to be asking the question all the time, because for some people they'll come and say yeah, but we've got to play the long game, because the people we play the long game with are the people that will like probably be the better people that join us, because they'll have thought about it for longer, they'll have took more interest. I do not believe that anybody joins this business without thinking that they are capable of doing it. Like they must think, like, how many people must look at, like, so watch you ladies and they go, do you know what, I could do that. I could probably take some of them catalogs in work and get some sales from the girls in work. I think I'll give it a go. Instantly there's something pops into their head. Nobody looks at it and thinks, I will never be able to sell. I'm going to join that business. Like it just doesn't work like that. There's something in there in people's minds that they say that they would want to do that. Okay, just look at the question.
Just in Charlotte's comment. If I hadn't kept dropping her messages and she wouldn't have joined. But Charlotte is also someone that I've been connected with on Instagram for probably 3 or 4 years. You know, look, when I first opened my Instagram account about 4.5 years ago, some of the people that I'm still having conversations with, some of the people that have recently joined me now with Oriflame are people that I connected with 4 years ago. And that doesn't necessarily mean to say like that everyone you invite isn't going to join you for 4 years. Absolutely not. But it does mean that some of those people will take that long and they need to be watching you. And and gain that amount of trust, really. And I do also think that, like, I always got told once, you attract what you're talking about. And so I make a point regularly of going on my stories and talking about the business and about what the income is doing for me. And like, I went on there today and I was talking about the fact that we're going out for drinks tomorrow evening. We've got like a date night, me and Keith, tomorrow night, or Saturday night. And it's things like that that we can do now that I couldn't before the business. And I think having that kind of content where you're talking about the business, because otherwise, if you just put in like salesy posts and product posts, people know that you're selling something, but they don't necessarily know there's an opportunity there for them as well.
Yeah, exactly. And I love that. And you know, you are right. You attract the people that are like you. They say your vibe attracts your tribe, and it's so true. You know, you can turn all the likes and the followers into leads that you have got and prospects over the future, but some will take the long game, but they'll be the biggest reward. Like, here's an example. I always talk about having a hit list. I'll laugh and joke about calling a hit list. You know, a lot of people call it a hot list. I call it a hit list. But if you have one, you need to be targeted and focused in your efforts and what you're doing. So if you've got a list of people that you're actively going on and looking for every day, actively going to engage in their content every single day, it's the best form of follow-up that you could ever get. Because if they're seeing you all the time, they're seeing your face, they're seeing your posts, they're seeing your comments, they ain't forgetting about you. And you start to plant seeds in people's heads, and people then start to think like, do you know what? I might have a little look at that, what she's doing, because she seems to be doing so well with that. You know, sharing the excitement. I've just announced the Ori Glow Up incentive trip. That could be one of the best recruitment tools. You could be sharing, especially Gemma, who was on the last one. Gemma, you could be like, oh my God, you've seen how much fun I had. You've seen the reels, you've seen the TikToks. Who's joining the next one? It's just been launched. That kind of thing will get people attracted in. And even for those of you that didn't come, you could be like, I've been watching the last one looked amazing. I'm making sure that I achieve the next one, you know, whatever it is. So there's things like that you can put on there to use as a recruitment tool. You know, some people join because of the fun and this and everything that goes on. I remember a mum coming up to me at the school gates and saying to me, what is it you do? Because I want to join because it looks so much fun. She had no idea, but she wants to be a part of the party. So it's like using things like this to go out there and attract people in. But as an example, Shelley, that's in my team, Shelley was with the Body Shop. So Shelley had like a massive business with the Body Shop. I made friends with Shelley a long time ago, and we just connected via stories and via commenting on each other's posts. And we were chatting a lot about Slimming World. So again, nothing to do with the business, nothing to do with anything. We were chatting, and I used to be voice noting her back into all the time about Slimming World. I told her about our shakes, things like that. So I'd built this friendship with her. So it wasn't anything like, I wasn't off talking to her all the time, but I'd put things on, she'd comment, she'd put things and I'd comment. Well, as soon as Body Shop announced that they went bust, she was straight in my inbox. I want to join your team. She's come over with, well, she's doing £100,000 a catalogue. Do you know what I mean? Like it's unbelievable what her coming over. But that was a long game. I've been friends with her for over a year. But was it worth all the back and to? Yes. And it didn't ever feel forced either, because I think when you find the right people that you do naturally get on with, and you are, you know, alike, and you like the same things, then it never feels forced, and it just becomes a natural thing. And then they're more likely to want to join you because I think they can feel that it's real as well. You know, and it's not just I'm not one for the fakeness. I know, like, there's a lot of people that will, I regularly get messages in my inbox off network marketers, and it'll be like, hi, how are you? How's your weekend been? But I don't know them, never spoke to them before. And it's the first message they sent me. And I'm a little bit like, it used to work. It used to work years ago, but now it's a little bit cheesy. And it's like, do I know you? Whereas I would, if someone commented on my story and said, oh, I really like that, you know, and asked me a question, I wouldn't think twice. I'd be like, oh yeah.
One of me. What was his name?
You know?
Oh.
So it's a more natural thing to do. And I think it's not forcing it, and it's making sure that the things that you're, the conversations that you're having, try and keep them as real as possible. Try and keep them as natural as possible. Imagine yourself talking to a friend. That's what I do. When I'm writing out a message to a customer or to a prospect or whatever, I always use my friend Lisa. It's funny, and I think I'm talking to Lisa. I'm talking to Lisa, and then that way I suddenly relax in what I'm saying because I'm talking to Lisa. And I think if you have that, it really does help. But it's about having as many conversations as you can. But one of the key things as well is tracking that. So we know that where focus goes, energy flows. Okay, if we really focus on something, it really does work. So if we stay on track and we stay consistent and we are tracking the people that we are going and you know, connecting with and following up. So again, using the hit list, using the conversation starters, all the different things that we can do to go out there and just genuinely speak to more people. And then remember the elastic band. Remember, it's not all business, 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 and it's going to snap. Now we are like, bit of business, back to them, bit of business, back to them, bit, and then that way the conversation just flows much, 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 much easier. Has anyone got any specific like problems that they would say with recruiting? Is there anything that you feel that you need more help on, any certain areas?
Yeah, unmute guys and ask, because Claire's the expert.
Best way to track conversations then, Claire? I've tried the 100 grid. I've tried just marking them. I've tried just writing them down. And
are they not? Is it not for you? So that is what I do. I write them down, but I'm a pen.
I was going to say, I'm interested to know Claire's way, because I've got a way of doing it as well. So maybe we can share both.
Yeah, I am definitely a pen and paper girl for sure. I find the 100 grid's great, but then when I was having quite a few conversations at a time, trying to go back to follow-ups, I was losing them.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I literally just write it all down on a pen and paper. I just have, I focus on my 10. So I always have a list of 10 always, and then I'll add to that. So as people either join me or tell me to bog off, if that's the case, then they will be moved off the list, and then I will look for more. So I focus on 10, and they're the ones that I do. And I have a little system as well where I will make sure that I have commented on the things at least 4 times before I get in their inbox, so I can see that they've seen a little bit of me. Do you understand? Like if I'm commenting on things and they're replying to me, that they're starting to notice me. So I tally chart that. So next to their names, I'm like, right, I've done 4 times. And then obviously I try to start every conversation through a story. I'll literally just ask a question and then somehow bring up anything. And I don't always go straight in and ask people to join my business, because for some people, like, I'm not someone that wants to say we're going to go and poach other networkers in any which way, because it's not the way we are. But then if you build relationships up with people, you never know what's going to happen in the future if they ever do decide to leave. So it's good to have those relationships, but I would never ask them the question. Like, I would never have asked Shelley to join my business or anyone like that. But I've built that relationship up so that one day if they decide they do want to come, I'm here. So that's like, they'll be on my list, but they're on like a side list, because I'm not going to ask them that question, but I am going to still
bit like the chicken list type thing. So they're highlighted, but they're not there to be used, sort of thing.
Yeah. And it's like, the more seed you plant around them, the more that they're likely to join anyway, because that's the goal, isn't it? You want to become the hunted, not the hunter. You want the ones to be like, yeah, I want to join you. I want to be in your business. So it's, you know, trying to be, like I said, as natural as we can on this. And there are things like scripts and stuff available. There are things in the recruitment group, there's things on boards, there's things there, but I just highly recommend that if you're going to use them, you kind of use the body of them to get the gist of what we're trying to get across, but be you. You know, have your own, like, like the amount of people that send messages that are this long. And I just think straight away, that is the worst thing that you can do. And the reason for that is people will open it and go, and they don't even want to look. But also, it's meant to be a conversation, not just me talking for 10 minutes. This is like, I'm talking, you reply, I'm talking, you reply. So you want to have short messages so that they have a chance to come back to you, and you can build that banter back into and build that relationship, rather than just giving someone the whole. I mean, I can remember, and this was somebody that I was dead shocked, because there was like a leader in a team, and someone said, what do you send? And this message, oh my God, you were scrolling and scroll, and it told them the ins and outs. This was her first message approaching someone about the business, and she had everything down to what commission they receive and all of that. And I was like, what? This is just too much. We don't do that. So if we can have it so it's back into, Some tips that I would give is have things saved. So whether you use boards or whether it's just the notes on your phone, but have things like answers to frequently asked questions. You'll notice the more people you speak to, they all ask the same sort of question. And it's usually like, how much is it to join? You know, like what kind of commission do you earn? All these things. And if you have all those things written down, ready, it just makes it easier for you. So even though we want to build a conversation, the factual stuff, that's not that can be a copy and paste. Have that ready, and then you can just be going, here you go, here you go, here you go, here you go. Third party validation is always key. So if you can like get them either in the opportunity group to go and look at other people's success stories, you know, watching the video in a 3-way chat even. So 3-way chats have worked really well for me in the past as well. So if you've got somebody that's on the fence, so they may have you may have been speaking to them, they're thinking of joining but they're a little bit unsure, and you could, let's just say for example, this is Gemma now and she's speaking to somebody and they just can't decide, then maybe Karen could go in a 3-way chat, the two of them go in there together. You could speak to the person and say, I'm just going to put you in a little chat with my upline and see if you've got any more questions that she might help. And then they're coming together. Karen could come in and just be like, hi, I'm Karen. I just wanted to say I'm here if you need any help and you got any questions. And it's almost like a validation. It doesn't matter like who you are. When there's someone above them comes in, they feel better. Does that make sense? So like I could even get Craig to come in. Craig could even get, you know, the company to come in, whatever. But if we have someone that's a little bit above them, it just makes them feel a little bit more secure. So they do work well as well, having three-way conversations. But just getting people to sit, like, you know, sharing a video, getting them in a group, sharing them, tagging them in a post, it sees that it's not just coming from you. Because if you just give them all the information, another thing what happens here is as well, if you become this big expert who knows the ins and outs and everything, and you are constantly telling them everything, in the back of their mind, they're thinking, I'll never be able to do that. I'll never be able to understand all of that. Whereas if you go, oh yeah, I'll just show you here, and you just tag them in a video, or you just send them a link, or you say, here's my sponsor, they go, oh, I could probably do that. So you got to think of it like that as well. You got to think, because you are prospecting from the minute we start speaking to them, and instantly their mind is ticking, and instantly they're thinking, is this for me? Isn't this for me? Can I do, from the beginning? So it's all about how you, like I say, if you feel you need to know everything, that could actually be, it could work in the opposite way. And also, knowing everything is great, but it's not about what you do, it's about what duplicates. And that's what matters. So you could be so good at presenting the business. You could be someone that sits there with a laptop, gets people tuned in, presents the whole opportunity call to them, does all this, and it could really work for you. But unless it's something that a child can do, that anyone can duplicate, then there's no point. It literally is all about duplication constantly, how many other people can do it. So it's about keeping it simple, keeping it really easy as well.
I think the thing that I always come back to with this business as well, and the reason that I don't have any fear over inviting here is because I think I've had this conversation with you before, Claire, is that with coaching with Beachbody, I knew that I was prospecting someone and I was going to have to ask them to pay 190 quid or 180 quid or something to join the business. Yeah. And then they would have a monthly business fee, and then they had to stay active every month, you know, meet a certain, you know, requirement. And that I got to a point where I got so scared of inviting, because I didn't want to have to ask people to part with that money, that I think actually having two compensation plans and two companies to kind of compare, I think that's why I find it so much easier here, because I know that I'm only going to be asking them for £19 plus a few products if they want to get started. And yeah, I just think that, you know, it's more simple.
It's all a mindset shift as well. So a little bit of background on Oriflame. When I first come here, which is like coming up to 6 years in May, it was free to join, and I was in a company that was £50 to join before. So then I went from £50 to free, and instantly I'm like, woo, we're going to sign up loads of people. And we were a big recruiting team anyway. And in my first week in business, I had a team of 200 people, right? It went absolutely crazy. People were recruiting left, right, and center. But what happened was, it was actually the worst thing. Free to join is like the worst thing ever, because what happened was everyone was recruiting like crazy. No one did anything. So they were signing people up left, right, and centre who had no idea what they were signing up to, or they'd sign up, and because there was no value to it to them, they didn't bother. They didn't try. When someone gives you something for free, you don't value it the same as you do when you pay for it and work for it and all of that. And we just found that it actually had such a negative impact on the team, because leaders were feeling that they weren't good enough because their team members weren't working, or because no one was having success. So it was having such a knock-on effect that everyone stopped recruiting. So then they brought in a joining fee, and the joining fee was £49. That's how much it was to in Oriflame, £49, and you got a kit with that. And then it made things like quite hard again. Some people were like, oh, it was free and I couldn't even do it. I'm definitely not going to be able to do it for £49, and it was a bit slow. Then COVID hit and they couldn't send out kits because they come from the UK office. So they just scrapped the price for the kit and said it's £19 to join. Well, all of a sudden, everyone went crazy, because it was like, well, I couldn't recruit with £49, but I can recruit with 19. It's all in you. It's all in the mind. It's the mindset, isn't it? So when you have that drop or whatever, or you have that rise, it puts something in your head. And sometimes as well, I can remember my sponsor saying to me years ago, because I used to say, I'm fine until I get to the joining fee. The minute I get to the joining fee, people don't want to join. That was what I used to say all the time. And my sponsor said to me, Claire, it's only you that's got the issue with the joining fee, not them. And I was like, what? And he was like, that's your problem. You have got a hang up on it. He said, I don't have an issue with the joining fee. And the minute I realised that actually it was me that had the hang up with the joining fee, and it must have come across to everyone I spoke to, because I'd kind of like shy away from how much it was, or I'd be like, oh, it's £19 or whatever. Whereas now I'm so confident with it. I'm like, oh my God, it's only £19. And now I don't have any issue. Very, very rare does anyone say to me they can't afford it. And if they do, it might just be, can I join next week when I get paid? The joining fee is not an issue to me anymore, but it used to be. But once you get it out of your head, it isn't. So again, it's all in the mindset, and it comes across to your prospect. It comes across to them if you have got an issue with the joining fee or anything as well. Does anybody else feel like that, or has anyone got anything else that is your main concerns, or what do you feel you're struggling with when you say you've tried to recruit and you've not yet got anywhere? Is it like through people to speak to in the first place, or is it the people that you're speaking to are not interested, or is it that you're advertising, people are not coming to you? What would you say that was?
So well, I won't say it's a problem, but I've had two people who have been absolutely over the moon that I've approached them. They're really, really interested, really, really keen. You know, they say, oh yes, send me all the information. Get to that point, and then you don't hear anything.
Mm-hmm.
And one person just has totally blanked me. The other person said, no, it's not right for me at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so, well, you just got to just try and forget about it, really, and just learn from that negativity, really.
It's disheartening. And one thing I will say is you need to develop a thick skin. Okay, so it is a numbers game, and the more people you speak to, the more results you'll get. And speaking to one or two people, we do have to do a lot more than that. We need to speak to a lot more people than one or two people. However, that doesn't mean it's any easier when you speak to those one or two and they say no, because it is disheartening. And every time we take that knock, but I think go for no. So I remember there's a book called Go for No. It's a really, really good book, actually. And it talks about you have to go through the no's to find the yeses. So if you say like, I want 100 no's, that's my goal. I'm not looking for a yeah. I'm not looking for anyone to join my team. I'm looking for 100 people to say no to me. Well, I can guarantee if you get 100 no's, you're going to get some yeses in there somewhere as well. And that's the whole point. We go through that. And remember as well, it's usually not just no, stay away from me. It's usually no, not now, because the timing's not right. And we can't control that. That's one thing that we have absolutely no control over. It's time in people's lives. I was approached about network marketing for the first time the week I opened my very first salon. Well, of course, I've just opened my first business that I've been so excited to open, and that was my priority. I wasn't interested in a network marketing company whatsoever. The timing was not right for me. And then when I was eventually, like, in the end, brought to my attention, I was ready for it. So we've got to remember that everyone has different spans in their life where the opportunity, so as well, for people that you spoke to in the past, doesn't mean that they won't ever change their mind, because I've had a lot of people change their mind. People that told me they were never going to join suddenly said, you know what, I've been looking at this now, I'll give it a go. To just keep
I have approached other people and they've just totally blanked me.
I think though, with the people that,
yeah.
the way I like to see it is the people that blank you, or the people that you send the information over to, and then maybe you follow up with them a couple of times, you just don't hear anything back from them. They are the people that, I don't know, I consider them the time wasters, maybe. Like, you don't want to be spending too much time on them, particularly like
Yeah.
if they ghost you or just ignore you. I don't find that ghosting doesn't seem to be so much of a thing anymore. I think that people do have a little bit more respect, and if you ask a question or you send them, they normally will reply. But those people that do still do that whole ghosting, the way I would see it, Jane, is they wouldn't be right for your team anyway.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
true.
Like, if they can't be bothered to reply to a message, or they're going to ignore you, then if they did join the business, what use would they be to you? Probably not much. So yeah,
exactly. Like I say, you've got to sift through the stones to find those good people. You're the only person that you can rely on right now. You're the superstar of your business. You're the one that's going to catapult it and move it forward. And I think by taking control of our own actions, and like going to bed every day on knowing we've done activity, that is the key. Focus on the activity, not the results, because the results will come. But if we reward ourselves on, I've done this today, I've done that today. I mean, and like whether you have like a notepad with it all on, whether you have a plan, some people have hour by hour plans, everyone's different. I've got a friend, and this really works for her, and because she feels overwhelmed by things. So she has little sticky notes with all different jobs on, and she has them pinned on the wall, and she just takes a note at a time and does a job at a time in her time. And if she's not got a time for a lot of them, then she's not. And if she's got time for some, she has. I always like to say 5 a day keeps your business growing. So if you have 5 activities a day, then like you could have like a list. I'll have to have a look for it actually. We used to have like a list of loads of different activities, loads. And I'd say choose 5 a day to keep a healthy business. And as long as you're doing at least 5, you will grow. You will be consistent in some way. So it could be things like, all the usual posting on your social media, sending out having conversations, posting on your stories. It could be putting business cards out. It could be doing stalls and events. It could be doing online parties. There's like loads of things that we've got activity wise. And if you choose 5 every day, it's gonna grow, it's gonna compound, recruiting and selling. And like I said, selling is such a key part of it, because when you're confident at selling, the recruitment will come so much easier, because that's where you are so confident that you can show someone how to earn money, because you know how to earn money with sales. It's like there's so many, it's quite interesting to look at the body shop people coming over, the difference in the sales that these girls do, like the massive sellers, some of them 4, 5, 6 grand a catalogue. I'm like, wow, unbelievable. But the more I listen to them, they've had to do that because in body shop the compensation plan was rubbish, and you had to have a team turnover of £5,000 before you could earn off your team. So before anything below that, if you done 3,500, you wouldn't earn. So therefore they had to sell because that was their income. They couldn't rely on their team until they got high up. So therefore they all become master sellers. So, and because they become master sellers, it just becomes so much easier to recruit. So, it's something that is really good. I would definitely recommend we're following the trainings within the group. Yesterday, Nasa's done a really good one on stalls and events and things like that as well. And we've had a few different ones, but just follow everything, follow all the trainings, take notes as much as you can, and just implement all the tips, because we are sharing the top tips, and the people that are sharing them are the best in the business. So no one's going to keep anything from themselves, because we want you to grow. So I think sometimes we can look at little things, little tweaks, and think, oh, that can't be it. It's like you're looking for a secret, when actually it's the slight edge. It's all the little things that we do that compound, that make the difference. So by following each one of these steps and doing all the little things rather than picking and choosing what we do and what we don't do, it will just compound our business forward.
Yeah. I just think I'm not really at the right point to be recruiting, because I'm still trying to build up those conversations with people, with new people in social media. because the people that I had already had as friends, they're the people that I've already approached, and they're the ones who have blanked me.
Yeah,
so
you want to grow.
There's no point in me looking at that. So I've got to start again, really.
Yeah, you need to grow your friends list as well. So Sylvia done a really good training the other day on where to find people. You know, you've got things like groups of interest, business pages, adverts that you can go onto, like beauty adverts, and look at the people that are following those, or wellness things. There's so many different ways that you can go out and find new friends. A tip that I did, so with the whole Body Shop thing, last year somebody said to me, the Body Shop's going to be going, it's definitely not going to be staying around. And I was like, really? And they were like, yeah, there's something going on there. So I made a conscious effort to find friends with Body Shop people, hence I become friends with Shelley and things. And one of the ways I did that, this is going to sound dead sneaky now, but I literally went into like big leaders Facebook pages and started looking at all the people that were commenting and liking on their profiles, and I was just adding all of it, because then it was their friends, and I could see they were all within the network. Now you could do that with other companies. I mean, I have no idea whether this is a thing or not, but I will just say that the Body Shop, the people that own Body Shop, the same people that owned Avon, you know, who knows, Avon could be next to go. So if we go and make those connections and make those relationships and have those friendships ready, if anything does happen, again, you're in a good position. So it's just targeting where to go. I mean, there's all different ways that you can advertise as well. There is an ad pool. I'm not sure whether I think the ad pool is the right place, because a lot of people that apply on the ad don't know what they're applying for, if that makes sense. And sometimes it can be costly and all of that. There's people that do Google ads as well. But again, it can be costly. You can set your budget. You know, I know there's girls in my team that do Google ads and they spend £40 a month and they will get people through off it. But then I know people that don't get anything through off it. So it's hit and miss. So there's lots of ways of paid advertising should you want to go down that route. But free is always the best, because it's where you build the relationships, and that's what this business is about. It's not about people just clicking on your link and joining you, because the likelihood of them staying, if you've not got a relationship with them, is a lot lower. So we're doing it the right way, connecting with people the right way, and getting the right people coming in, definitely. So Karen, would you like me to go through anything else?
Don't think so. I think the only thing that I was going to add is, and I've said this to the team before, is that I have taken the pressure off a bit, and now when I am doing like my business hour or doing my pockets of time or what have you, I am showing up to be social on social media. That's the way I'm viewing it now. Like, yes, I know it is a business and I've got to approach it with a business mindset, but I'm that type of person that can get too target driven if I'm not careful, and then I put too much pressure on, and then if I don't hit a target, I just go, I feel so deflated that I'm like, I can't do it, and I'll have like weeks out of it. So now I've taken those kind of pressures off, and I show up to be social on social media. It's about following people, getting to know people, having conversations. You know, I think you said that you have a paper system. I just do everything from my phone. I just do it all on Instagram. That's how I track my business, so that I can literally do it anywhere. And when I'm having a conversation with someone in their inbox, I star them as a favorite, so you can store favorites, and then they come up first in the news feed, so I'm commenting on their stuff first and stuff like that. But yeah, I just have taken the sort of the business mindset out of it and just do it for the fun of it. And then it feels like I am just having conversations with friends and stuff like that. And I also don't really give myself, maybe this is not the right thing to say, but I don't really give myself a recruitment target every day. Like, I don't want to sit and say, right, I've got to invite 10 people every day to the business, because I know that I might not have had that many conversations to be able to invite that number. And I don't want to invite someone just for the sake of inviting them and it be a throwaway invite, when I could have built more of a connection with that person. So I will only invite the number that feels right on that day. Rather
I think
than
that's the best way to do it, to be honest. And I think
I don't want it to be tick box.
Yeah, you've got to be like, you've got to do what works for you. So there will be people that I don't know whether any of you guys, but the people that could sit there and go, oh no, I need a tick box. Sorry, Karen, that just sounds like terrible to me. I need to copy that. And then there'll be other people who'll be like, no, actually, Karen, that sounds exactly what I need. Everyone is different. Everyone works different. And it's finding your flow. And that's the key. It's finding what works for you, how as long as you know you're talking about your business every day, you're having the conversations, you're doing it, you're putting the effort in. No, it doesn't matter how many you've done. You know, it's about just finding your flow and what works, and your business is growing, then your business is growing.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely about the conversations, as you say, because the more conversations you have, the more opportunity at least there is to get the invites out there. And you know, it's like what Craig always says, isn't it? The person that has the most conversations is going to be the person that sells the most or recruits the most, and that. And I must admit, I've noticed, I know this is more of like a recruitment call, but I've noticed that my sales have been a little bit better. I still go down the route like Donna, she's going to kill me when she sees me on the school run tomorrow. I still say to myself, I'm not very good at selling. I still say I'm not very good at selling, but since focusing on skincare and makeup, because they're the two things that I love, and I will talk about them day in, day out, even though I feel like I'm talking about the same thing and people are going to get bored with me, that people don't get bored because they like to, if they got bored, they'd unfollow us, wouldn't they? But yeah, I definitely sell more skincare and makeup because it's what I talk about.
It's good to have the products that you know, and that's one thing I'd say. Pick a couple of areas or three. So I'm skincare, makeup, and hair care. They're the three that I focus on, and that's really all I post about. I will post my shakes and stuff now and then, but really product wise, they're all I focus on, and it's good to have that because it'll stick and you'll be known for it as well. You'll start to find that niche.
Yeah, you look at Jenny Ford, like with her skincare, she's done like 1,500 BP in her own personal sales just in skincare because people know her for skincare. Like they're like, if I need to know something about skincare, I'll go to Jenny, and people will buy off her because she's the best, you know, when it comes to skincare. So yeah, I think maybe having your finger in too many pies, if that's the phrase, is that the right phrase? Trying to post and talk about everything ends up maybe selling nothing. So picking a couple of things I think has definitely helped me, and then just inviting people to the business because I know that I want to build a big business and a big team, and like I'd love that for everyone on here as well. Like I think everyone's got it within them, but then, you know, as you said, people got to decide whether they want like a little team, big team, maybe they don't want to grow a team. That's entirely up to people, isn't it? But
yeah, definitely. And you're all part of a great group. You're part of a great team. There's a lot of support here, and I think between you all, you can definitely do it.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you. Anything else, anyone? No.
Okay. Lovely seeing you all.
Thank you. Thank you for giving up your time because I know you've had hundreds of people join you.
You're welcome. I'll see you all soon, ladies.
Lovely.
See you later.
Thanks,
Bye.
Claire.
Bye.
Bye.